Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at a Vengeance BloodCraft variant at the moment. This is only one variant of at least two major ones that I have seen. This one focuses more on the aggressive side of it, whereas I guess the other one also is quite aggressive, but instead of running what this one runs, it does run other cards like Calamity as its priority, which is actually quite interesting. So I like that we've got at least a couple of simpler variants running around, so it's quite interesting. And I'm covering the Calamity one very soon, so do look out for that video. But for now, we're going to get right into this and check it out. So, kicking us off here first, we are going up against a Shadowcraft player.
Time to get started.
This starting hand is definitely not the best. I would definitely prefer to swap it out for something a bit better, and this hand is definitely an improvement. Also, if I ever get the new vampire, I do tend to throw it away, of course, out of my opener, since I don't believe it counts in the active first turn. But unless you draw it like this, which we did, so we did get Vengeance active at turn 1, which is ideal. That's exactly what you want with this deck. Turn 1 Vengeance activator is absolutely amazing, especially when it's basically free. I can't wait to test that card further in other too, so simple Ghost, we're going to get a pretty quick Unleash of Nightmare. Unleash the Nightmare, going onto the board. Very solid. Ends in immediate concede though. Not a huge surprise. So that was mainly just to show off the initial start and how good you can actually get as far as hands. I do actually have a couple of proper full-on games to show here, and hopefully this one should be Forest. That should be quite decent. I did forget that one actually was one of the least impressive games that I had, but I did like the fact that getting the Seductress early really does help. But of course this does just have a lot of good cards. Entrancing Blow is still one of my favorites as far as cheap, powerful cards go. As you can see here, really easy target for that now. And I do like to upgrade those Nightmares. They actually go really well with this deck. I've been struggling a little bit, not so much with this deck, but with some of the other decks that I've been playing. Just because the meta still is a little shaky, I feel. It's definitely more solid, but it's still super awkward for anything that isn't a competitive deck. Also, losing both our Seductresses there wasn't great, but at least we did get it early enough, so I mean, I can't pick and choose too much. At least only losing 2 isn't so bad. Although I do wish they wouldn't trigger like that. I wish it would only trigger 1 and then the other would get stay in hand because Vengeance was technically active, but that's just how their order of operations functions. So, Kiss of Lust taking out the low drop there, going into the Nightmare Dream Eater. Able to take a 5-1 lead with it, which is great, and potentially even higher once we, of course, account for the bat itself. Which probably means they will trade this Peerless. If they don't, it would be a huge loss for them. And a little fairy to make up for it, so really not a problem at all so far. I can now, of course, use my Enraged Commander to give Destructive Succubus a really nice buff. Giving it Storm is going to be amazing, plus we get the 5 damage initially, so we've now got just straight up 11 damage on the Succubus with a decreased cost as well, so couldn't have asked for a much better setup there. Whirlwind Roach though, looks like they're trying to get some roaches going. I have noticed a drop off of those lately. Not as many floating around. Most people are focusing on the Okami builds that seem to be a lot more popular. And it's probably what they're aiming for here, was a straight up Okami, but they are pretty much going to lose out on that now. Or at least lose out on the Roach. Yep, so there is the Okami. Prime Okami, to be more precise, of course. And these Okamis are actually pretty amazing. It's become a very staple forest powerful card as far as it goes. And I've actually got a video for that for tomorrow, so hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy that one. So a little bit more buffing going on. We're actually looking at now a 10-drop Destructive Succubus. Once you include Evo effect, plus the extra damage, so we're actually going to be even higher than that, which is kind of impressive. So they do now need to take this out. It's going to cost them, that's for sure. And going face, totally wrong move right now. Destructive Succubus on 8 with Storm, plus Evo, plus snakes. Well and truly game over for the forest player. So straight into the next game, we are playing against a dragon. Dragon can be a pretty formidable force, but in a situation like this, blood is just super powerful. They have got the nice One Punch Man sleeves going on though. I do kind of regret not buying the One Punch Man leaders, and probably also not buying the ReZero leaders, but, you know, money's a thing, and unfortunately I've already put enough into Shadowverse as far as cosmetics go that I don't feel the need to really dip into it more right now. So Dragon Oracle looks like they're playing a ramp dragon. Predictable at least, which is nice. And there we go, we did manage to get our Seductive Vampire. Again, getting it early is always what you want, and this deck does do a fairly good job of that, being able to, of course, have a lot of low-cost, powerful draw power to use. So, Disciple of Disdain, drawing a couple of cards, makes sense. Pretty good play. Definitely can't fault them for that one. Azazel, the Depraved. While I do like that card, I did decide against wanting to use it for its eval effect, which is why we played it as we did. Now we do just need to focus on what we can do from here. So the thing that I do struggle with this deck sometimes is making sure that my storm finishes are actually an option. So sometimes you've just got to drag out the matches and hope that that's enough to win you games. At least this time we can double trade, removing both these followers. And setting up our Succubus for 8 already. Always trying to take advantage of those Warring Flame where I can. Sometimes I don't have that option, but more often than not I definitely want it. Snare of Disdain, double removal, and we get quite a nice bat. So that's pretty much guaranteed 6 damage right there. And with a pretty nice Evo setup. So we get to remove this board, go face, we have the Uriah set up for extra damage and healing. And they basically have to deal with this bat. They can't really afford to leave it up because it would just be too dangerous. So we can definitely see the Prince going into the bat play. Does leave us 4 damage on board, plus 9 in hand. Way more than enough we need, I reckon. Well, actually, sorry, 3 in hand because we don't have, of course, the Storm on it yet, but that's more than enough to set up lethal for next turn. For Seductress Vampire, which only needs that 4 damage ping, 2-face to win us the game. And there it is. Quick, easy, and to the point.
You're a solid fighter.
So this deck is definitely a fun one and a very powerful one at that. I do want to get a good look at the other blood deck. I think it could do a really nice job as well. I'm not sure which one will be my favourite yet, but we'll wait and see about that. I'll probably update that with the next video and see. But overall, the new cards have had a lot of new variations, at least, to decks. Mostly returning old decks, which is pretty okay. You know, things like Elena, Blood, all those sort of decks. Basically returning to what they used to be. And for now, that's probably how it's going to be for a while, until we see, of course, some nerfs and changes, which will probably be inevitable at this point. I don't see anything too meta-defining getting changed. But I definitely think Elena will probably see some change in either its deck or the card itself. I definitely see Blood seeing some change, but at the moment they're the only two I can really see outside of maybe Forest if it dominates too much, but I feel like that's going to be overshadowed by Elena and Blood right now. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Until next time, guys, see ya.